Welcome to another edition of Douglas on My Mind, and we have a very innovative show for you today, and it's going to be talking about some initiatives that we've been undertaking here at the City of Douglas through our code enforcement activities, specifically our Operation Quality of Life. And I have with me Rodger Goddard, and he's our code enforcement officer, and he's doing a fine job for us in that endeavor. So we're going to be right back after these messages with Mr. Goddard. Welcome back to Douglas on My Mind, and as I stated before the break, we have an innovative show for you today. We're actually going to be hopefully showing you some extensive slides and pictures of things we undertook as we took place in our Operation Quality of Life, and I have with us the person who helped lead that endeavor, Mr. Rodger Goddard. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
He's become quite a star. He's been on Channel 31 and Channel 10, and now we got him on our cable channel, Channel 13, and hopefully he will impart some information and insight about what we engage in around, I believe it was April the 24th.
Correct.
In regards to that. But before we get started, and I apologize in advance, I'm suffering through the allergy sinus challenge that most of us are going through right now with the blooms out and everything else. I think I'm allergic to everything. I don't think nothing's withstanding and not being allergic to. But matter of fact, we kind of started this discussion some time ago about code enforcement, and Mayor and Commission take a very, very strong position on how we can help clean up our community, clean up our city. And so if you will, kind of give some background of what concerns that you knew about based on Mayor Commission comments from last year in regards to quality of life things. So you want to talk about a little bit of that?
Yes, sir. One of the things was about a year ago was improving the aesthetics of the City of Douglas with the trash receptacles to make sure that citizens understand that they need to be removed off the right-of-way after the trash is picked up, giving them the time period to let them know when they can set the trash receptacles out, then remove them. And so then we moved on. We revamped our animal control ordinance.
That is correct. And
brought it up to date to state law, and where people wouldn't mind walking around our neighborhoods and have to be harassed by other animals. Another issue was we moved forward, tried to improve our city's infrastructure to wastewater, and was the leaf and limb piles, making sure that they were not, contaminated or put on the right-of-ways or in the gutters or the ditches where it stops up our wastewater.
Right. And let me point out something there, Rodger, because you bring, and I don't think really a lot of citizens really understand. Sometimes when they place their leaf and limb in the gutter, which sometimes they don't have enough frontage on their property, and I do appreciate that, it does block that flow of water. Actually, gutters, act as transporters of water to hopefully our storm system. So if you block those gutter systems up with leaf and limb, that restricts the ability water to go to those drain systems. So
just with the last amount of heavy rain that we had, we had water that was backed all the way up to West Baker Highway over Shirley Avenue, which was found nearly a mile away. What was causing it was one of the ditches had been stopped up with leaf and limb debris
Right.
and other trash.
Right. And I know one of the major concerns that some of our elected officials and citizens had is you have a lot of lawn services or even property owners blowing their leaf and limbs, or some of the leaf more so than limbs, into those gutter systems. And after a while, those gutter systems, those stop drains area, storm drain areas get kind of congested and then get stopped up, and then we have a problems with the runoff.
Just the other day on Shirley Avenue, there was a lawn service crew that had just got through cutting the yards or the grass at a doctor's office, and they took the excess and blowed it straight out in the city street.
Right.
Therefore, I stopped and told them, hey, you had to clean it up. And they stopped. I mean, they got their backpack blowers back off the truck and commenced to clean them back up.
Good, good. So these are some of the things that we were concerned about a year ago. Well, it's been some time, maybe over the course of 2 years, but we just put some teeth in some of the ordinances last year. And,
that is correct.
And we went through an extensive education program with the Public Information Office and Community Development Office, which you work out of, and customer service, trying to help educate, inform people what they were going to have to do in regard to keep our city clean, keep it aesthetically pleasing to everybody who comes in or even lives here in the city. So, was a challenge trying to get everybody to know, not everybody reads the newspaper, not everybody watches the Channel 13, not everybody, goes on the internet, so forth and so on. So, you're trying to get information out as many people as you can, but it's always a challenge. But there comes a point where we have to start enforcing what laws that we have on the book. I think that's one of the critical things that Mayor Commission kind of, if you will, kind of got concerned with us about as staff is, well, there's no sense in us enacting these laws, put these things on the book, if we're not going to enforce them, Mr. Jacobs. So hence the reason why we started what we call the Operation Quality of Life, and it undertook around April the 24th. And I'm going to let Rodger talk to you a little bit about that in just a few minutes, but before he does, I do want him to expound on a few other things in regards to some of the stuff that we saw, which has been a help in regards to addressing some things. Another thing that popped up, if I recall, was some of the abandoned vehicles that we had.
Correct, inoperable vehicles.
Right, and if you'll expound on some of that, and then some other things like property maintenance stuff too, that we'll talk about a little bit more extensively as far as some pictures that they'll see.
Sure. We don't want to get into calling people's property junk.
Right.
We call them inoperable vehicles. And if you have a vehicle inside the city of Douglas, it has to be in operable condition unless you're in a constant state of trying to repair the vehicle.
Right.
It has to have a valid tag, valid insurance, therefore, because you got to have that to operate it on the highway. And so, we've seen where people use inoperable vehicles as places to house their dogs, as storage for their household goods. And so I don't think the public knows what type of nuisance it does become, at least on the health issues, because you have the rats, rodents, the bug infestations that come along with that, and the high grass that comes along.
Right.
So we have been working on, people that has the inoperable vehicles. On the property maintenance side, if the house is vacant, and they need to make sure it stays secure, locked up. It's a good idea, if you're going to leave it vacant for some time, to go ahead and board up the windows. We've seen property throughout the city that's had a pretty decent property value that's went down to property values dropped a lot. You have people that go inside the houses, steal the copper wire from the houses. You have other criminal actions or criminal activities that go along with these vacant houses not being secured.
Right. Well, that's one of the major things. As you've heard Rodger say, there's multiple things that we're dealing with: property maintenance issues, inoperable vehicles, pet animal control issues, garbage can issues, just pretty much blight, overgrown lots in regards to overgrown grass, that people, all these things inhibit our ability to have good quality of life. Hence the reason why we call it Operation Quality of Life, to try to help us all have the same equitable type of quality of life that we hope to have here in the city of Douglas. So we're going to take a break, and when we get back from our break, we're going to delve into some of the pictures and let Rodger kind of talk a little bit about each one of these slides, these pictures, and kind of describe some of the things that we saw when we went forth on this Operation Quality of Life around April the 24th. So we'll be right back after these messages in just a few minutes. Back with more Douglas on My Mind, and as I stated at the top of our hour, we are having an innovative program today. We're going to try to do something a little different and have Mr. Rodger Goddard with us. He's our code enforcement officer, and we embarked on an operation we call Operation Quality of Life, which we held around April the 24th, I believe. And we're going to be talking about some of the things that we saw that afternoon. We embarked on this endeavor April the 24th. We actually went out around about 4 o'clock to about 8 o'clock, and it included some of the, what I call the code enforcement administrators, persons like myself, the assistant city manager, public works director, and Randall Parker and Rodger Goddard, and then I think we had 4 police officers that assisted us as well.
Well, the chief, and the deputy chief, and Commander Harper, and 4 other officers. Right.
So we had a team of about 8 or 9 people, yes, almost 10 people, that embarked on going out in a what we call a beat zone area, and I think it was, I always get it wrong. Beat zone what? 2 or what?
That was beat zone 2.
Beat zone 2. We have 4 beat zones in the city of Douglas, and those are specifically to police beat zones, and those are coverage area that we try to cover. So since we're not saying beat zone is the worst area that we have problems with, we're just saying we just want to start there since we had some concerns that developed out of that area. So we started there, and we saw some things that you will see in just a minute that kind of gets to what Rodger was talking about, that were really some things that challenge people's ability to have good quality of life in their neighborhoods. And probably you would agree once you see some of these pictures and how he's going to explain some of the violations that were occurring, that yeah, that constitutes some code violations. So we're going to let Rodger move forth, and we're going to see if Johnny can get this thing coordinated so we can show the slides while Rodger's talking. So you'll go ahead and start with the first one.
Okay, on the first screen here, you'll see where it's a lot of children's play toys out in the yards. You'll see a broken canopy type tent like you have for picnics, and there's some other items that's, I cannot tell what it is, it's covered up under a tarp. Yeah. This is, in a sense, could be what we call accumulation of junk. Not saying that the kids' toys are junky, but the safety concerns that we see here is, you know, we're next to a wood line, and with this equipped toys and tents and all that, especially around the toys and up under the tents, could harbor rats. When you start harboring the rats, you're going to have snakes to come out of the wood line. Right. And not only will it be that, it's also the bugs that go along with it. Right. So therefore, you know, we ask you to, you know, keep it nice and neat and tidy, sorry.